All right, are we ready? Thank you all for spending your St. Patrick's Day here with us at our regular City Council meeting. We're going to begin by the invocation and salute to the flag led by Councilman Sutton. Please rise.
Have the new handheld tonight. So let us pray. Dear Lord, we thank you for your grace and mercy shown to us every day. And I lift up this council and pray for discernment and wisdom for this body and for our city staff as we work for all of our constituents and to make this community better. We lift up our military and particularly our first responders today as we hit this 1 year mark from when evil sort of showed itself here in Jacksonville Beach last St. Patrick's Day. And we're thankful for and celebrate the successes we've had in building back our great police force, which is not such an easy thing to do in this day and age. And especially this week, Lord, we thank you for our excellent healthcare professionals and your healing that is delivered by and through their hands each and every day. We lift those up facing challenges and pray for your protection and healing because you are the great physician. We ask these things in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
This meeting is called to order. Madam Clerk, roll call. Councilmember Golding? Here. Councilmember Horn?
Here.
Councilmember Jansen?
Here.
Councilmember Sutton?
Here.
Councilmember Wagner?
Here.
Councilmember Wouters?
Here.
Mayor Hoffman? Here. Moving on to approval of minutes, item A.
I move we approve the minutes from City Council briefing held on March 3rd, 2025.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. B.
I move to approve the minutes from the regular City Council meeting held on March 3rd, 2025.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item C.
I move to approve the minutes from the City Council workshop held on March 7th, 2025.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item D.
I move to approve the minutes from the City Council briefing held on March 10th, 2025.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
I move to approve the agenda.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Council announcements. Ms. Golding.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I want to let everyone know that on Wednesday, April 2nd, that's just in a couple of weeks, there will be a State of Our Schools meeting that will be held at the Beaches Branch Library in the community room. Dr. Christopher Bernier, who's the new Duval Schools superintendent, and our Beaches representative, April Carney, will be there. And this will be at 7 o'clock at the Beaches Branch Library. It'll be an opportunity to hear them talk about the issues related to our schools here at the Beaches. And there are several topics that we expect them to cover, including the interlocal agreement that exists between DCPS and the Beaches. So I would encourage people to plan to come out to that meeting. It's being hosted by Beaches Watch. Also want to mention that there was a town hall held on March 3rd, I believe it was, at the Beaches Branch Library with our Jacksonville at-large council members and Rory Diamond. And that was recorded. You can go to beacheswatch.com and see that town hall. It was very interesting, very enlightening to hear from our Jacksonville representatives that we don't often get to see. And so they came out to the beach and spoke to the Beaches community. Also want to mention we have something fun that's going to be happening, that the city has organized free yoga for tomorrow night, March 18th at 6 p.m. at the Seawalk Pavilion. and that should be a lot of fun. You just need to bring your yoga mat and a towel and water. And then we have Moonlight Movies that are starting Friday the 21st at 7:30 p.m. with The Little Mermaid. So that's always a lot of fun. Encourage people to come out for that. And then just a quick update. I think several of us were probably on the Florida League of Cities call. The Florida legislative session is going, in case you may not know that. And our state legislators are challenging us again this year with a lot of bills that are very concerning for Jacksonville Beach. And we will be going, a large group of us will be going next week to Tallahassee to talk to our legislators about these bills and explain to them the impact that these bills would have on our community. And so I would just say that I know that there are several things, the local business tax that they're threatening to take away, and several other things that are very concerning for Jacksonville Beach. So we will be following those issues, and we'll be talking to our legislators next week.
Thank you, Ms. Golding. Anybody else? Mr. Wouters.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to thank Councilman Sutton for his beautiful prayer, and to thank our police force for their brave actions 1 year ago tonight. And if it's been on my heart, and I just wanted to have a moment of silence, please, for James Jones III, his family, loved ones, and friends who lost his life. Thank you. I appreciate that. I yield the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Wouters. Mr. Horn.
I just want to say one thing. When Councilwoman Golding was discussing issues at the state level, just so you guys know, one of the things that's coming out right now at the state level is a state rule that would change the way we can, as a municipal utility, transfer funds and regulate the way we use the money that comes from Beaches Energy Service. And I'm not going to belabor this point, but short and sweet, if you look it up, the person whose district this is in does not have a municipal service. They're fed by a national conglomeration that feeds them. I'm not going to name names, but bottom line is interesting. You got to look at where these things come from, and there's something behind it. It's not meant to help all Floridians. It's meant to help some companies, and we're going to do our best we can to make sure that the citizens of Jacksonville Beach, the areas that Beaches Electric Services get the best service they can, and we don't get stepped on by the state. Thank you.
Your light's still on. Did you have something else to say? Nope, you're fine. Anybody else? I would just like to congratulate Rory McIlroy, who won the Players this morning in a 3-hole shootout. Is it called a shootout? No, 3-hole playoff. That's it. Me and my sports terminology. He won it on St. Patrick's Day in 2019 as well. So I guess luck of the Irish was with him, but that does, as has been mentioned, brings back memories of where we were on March 17th last year. And not only did we have a shooting in town, but we talked about we were just kind of coming through the cyber event here at the city. So if you looked closely at your financial reports, you noticed some blank spaces there. So just really gives me time to reflect on how far we've come. And I think we have come out stronger as a city. And of course, we've made some big moves with our police department. I think the spring surge was a really well communicated and publicized effort that I think is working the way it was intended. Obviously, time will tell the tale on that, but so far, so good. It has gotten a lot of media attention. We've had a lot of proactive communications through our social media and other channels. So I think I don't want to jinx anybody, so I'm just going to stop talking right there. One item just to note as far as city events or events in our city, the 904 pop-up was supposed to be last Sunday due to weather. They proactively moved it to this Sunday, so make sure you go out and support them and thank them for making the right choice based on the weather predictions for the safety of their vendors and their guests. Any other council announcements? Okay, moving on to courtesy of the floor. We have with us the Honorable Mitch Reeves, the former mayor of Atlantic Beach. Come on up. You still get to be the honorable forever. Come on up. You're the honorable.
Thanks. I'll be pretty quick with this. I'm here to present a plaque to the city of Jacksonville Beach, and I'm not here on behalf of the Ferry Task Force because I'm not on that committee anymore. But in 2012, I was the chair, and I was going through a box the other day, and there's 3 plaques that I found in a box. And so I have a plaque to give you. I'm sure it's going to end up in somebody else's box. But I have a plaque to give to you on behalf of the St. John's Ferry. The task force give out certain cities and different people the plaque. And it's a simple plaque from St. John's River Ferry, city of Jacksonville Beach. And it's called a plank owner. Anybody that knows about the Navy, they understand what the plank is. And it was issued to you on October 1st, 2012 from the task force. And we waited for you to be not first, but last to get it. But I do appreciate it. And then real quick, I would like to cover something as a former mayor, I think it's very important. Councilperson Golden mentioned that we had the council here for a meeting, and Diamond and our at-large were there. And during that meeting, I asked them a question which I was surprised they actually answered. The question I asked them is, the sheriff's office is a county service. Do you feel that the fire department is a county service? They all said yes. My next question is, Councilman Diamond, will you present a resolution to the council to make sure that language is put in there, that it is county? Those that are familiar with interlocal agreement, it makes a lot of difference to us here at the beach, especially Atlantic Beach and you, not as much Neptune Beach. But I just want you to be aware of that, listen to that tape, and then it might give you a move to the next direction.
Thank
Do I
you.
give this
Would you
to-
like a photo op? I mean, I wasn't even on council when that was originally issued.
You guys got more important issues to push. I don't think a photo. Yeah, I'm sure you want to make fun of it. That's okay.
We all have one of those sit
I
somewhere, but
I can stand here with a shoe now, but no. Give it to the clerk.
yes, please.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for the visit. Kira Morrow from Dig Local.
Hi, I'm Kira Morrow of Atlantic Beach, and I am the board president of Dig Local, which runs our 2 local community gardens and the beach's green market. Here to just give an update and report on happenings at the market. We are in Penman Park every Saturday, rain or shine, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We have an average attendance now of roughly 700 shoppers a week, with between 20 and 25 vendors. We've been in our location now for 3 years, thanks to you all, particularly Mayor Hoffman, for facilitating our move down here from Atlantic Beach. And we are still the oldest weekly farmers market in Northeast Florida. We predate Riverside Arts Market by just a few months. We started out in Neptune Beach and Jarboe Park, and then when Mayor Curry shut down the parks during COVID, we moved to Atlantic Beach, their parking lot outside City Hall, and then eventually found our permanent home down here. It's been a great location for us. We're seeing a lot more utilization of the park during the market, folks showing up to play basketball or to play ball in the field behind the memory unit, and even folks staying to eat after, hitting the occasional food trucks or getting a hot coffee. A lot more people staying in the market area than we never saw before. That park was pretty underutilized for many years, I guess. We've also gotten kind of like a good neighborhood local set of folks who bike and walk to the market, as well as a lot of traffic coming in off Penman Road, which has been great. And it seems like every week as the weather warms up, we're seeing our attendance go up and up. So the market is doing really well. Our main needs at this point, just from feedback from both vendors and shoppers, is that the park could use at minimum a hand washing station. Currently, we rent a portalette, which is unlocked during market hours, but we don't have anywhere for folks to wash their hands. And because we don't currently have restroom access to the building rented by ARC or the Lions Club building, even an outside hand washing station on the side of the building would go really far. And that's kind of all. Do you all have any questions for us?
Thank you so
Not
much.
much. All
We
right.
appreciate the report. Keep up the great work. It's a great asset.
Thanks. It's been a
To our
really nice spot, and we feel quite supported by the city. So thank you very much for
Great.
your patronage.
Thank you, Kara. Rick Powell, come on up. Yeah, give us your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes to address the council.
My name is Rick Powell. Company is Barefoot Marine. Address is 10945 Patton Road, Jacksonville, Florida 32246. I wanted to address the council because we get a lot of calls. We're a marine contractor, state license as a general contractor. But Lake Duval, I know the council had voted back in 2003, and it was obviously owned by the city of Jacksonville Beach. But the issue we're having is that those walls, being as old as they are, we have to rebuild those walls. When you have a wall that's 6 or 7 foot tall holding back dirt, you don't have a lot of room. The state of Florida allows us 18 inches in front of existing walls because they don't want the customer's property falling into the rivers. It's not feasible in a way for us to dig off 6 foot of dirt 15 feet back and then find a place to put it in order to build a new wall and limit our exposure of the fill behind the wall getting into the lake. So we do have a client who I was asked by Dennis and the Public Works Department to come down and present this to the council as something that we'd like to look at. They do need to rebuild this wall. They have other construction that's going to be taking place. And I don't know how we address it, so I'm not sure what the reasoning was back in 2003 of saying no to everything. But it's not feasible for these properties to try to figure out how to build a wall, how to remove one and put another one in without having major swell loss and other factors. So I just wanted to bring that to the council. If you have a question, I'll try to answer it, or if you guys want to get back to me, I would appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Powell.
Okay.
That is the last courtesy of the floor card. Moving on to consent agenda.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. City manager new business, item A.
Good evening, Council. Bill Rieger, Director of Information Services. This is for for us to get new ERP software. As you know, we are moving in a direction away from Tyler Munis as an ERP provider, and this would be a alternative solution to that, which we've been trying to do for the last several years. This solution is from Central Square. This is going to give us a solution for. This is going to give us a solution for all of our enterprise management that we need, software management. So we'll start with general billing. We use Central Square for general billing now. This is going to be an upgrade for it. Eventually, this is going to lead to us centralizing all of the way we take in payments here at the city from a billing perspective, including credit cards here at the counter. This is also going to be for HR and payroll. We use Central Square for HR and payroll now. There's going to be an upgrade giving us some additional functionality in addition to employee self-service, so we can look at W-2s and tax information, take care of all that ourselves versus going to HR. This is also going to remote host our hardware. So right now we have this IBM mainframe hardware here on city property. This will allow Central Square to remote host that for us. And why that's kind of a big deal is the people who actually maintain that hardware are very difficult to find. and even more difficult to pay appropriately. So this is going to be a huge benefit for us to have this hardware remote hosted at Central Square location. This will also give us enterprise asset management. We talked a little bit about this a couple of weeks ago when we were at the event. The need for this, I know Dennis talked about that. He's been talking to me about it since I got here. And I don't blame him. We should have this. So this will be asset management, which would give us, would help from a finance perspective with depreciation. We can track that more easily. We can track maintenance of equipment more easily. So all that's with enterprise asset management, which will integrate into our existing GIS environment. This will also bring us community development. Community development is really around permit management and code enforcement management. We do have a solution for that right now in Central Square. This will be a significant upgrade in capability in what that department can do. It will also upgrade our ability to interface with customers. Our current Coast environment is provided through the solution. That will also get an upgrade. And finally, really payments. There will be, I think it's noted in here, we will be coming back when we finalize the negotiation of our payments term with them. That's a little bit separate than this, what we're asking for here. There's really no fees necessarily associated with that. We have to agree on what kind of credit card charges we're going to have. You should have all the financial information in there, and I'm happy to answer any questions. With me here today is a couple of representatives from Central Square. So if you guys want to get underneath the hood a little bit, we can have some technical answers if you feel like you need that.
Thank you. And a motion on item 1.
I move we approve the solutions agreement with Central Square for ERP-related software and services.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Jansen.
Just briefly, for the benefit of the citizens of Jacksonville Beach, can you talk about the financial? You are Ms. Gossing. Talk about the financial impact. How much?
Yes. So the financial impact, the annual. So this is going to be what's called the annual maintenance. The annual maintenance for this is going to be roughly $330,000. With that comes, it's really more or less a subscription service. So much like anything else that you subscribe to every month, this is the same thing, except you subscribe to it every single year. There's 2 costs associated with this, the annual subscription and then the implementation costs. The implementation cost for this is roughly $61,000. That's a one-time implementation service. Both those numbers have been negotiated by the city and have been reduced in our negotiation with Central Square.
Thank you.
Mr. Wagner.
Hello.
Build on what Councilman Jansen's question to help kind of provide some insight for the folks in the audience here. Can you share some insight into how this new capability is going to create a platform for additional capabilities in the future? Some of the things that were discussed around additional capabilities we'll be able to look at that we don't have today.
So the additional capabilities this is going to give us, for most of those things I mentioned earlier, there'll be upgrades. For the capability that we do not have right now that this will give us is in terms of enterprise asset management. So right now for the city, we're managing assets, but they live all over spreadsheets in different departments. So Beaches Energy has spreadsheets and they're literally using Outlook Calendar to help them maintain all of their equipment. Public Works has a very different way of doing that. Parks and Rec has a very different way of doing that. And we're going to streamline how all that is managed. All of our assets are managed throughout the city and how they're maintained. A lot of these things require maintenance at different intervals, and we don't have the ability to effectively do that now. This is going to give us that capability. Other capabilities that we don't have right now that we will have, again, is employee self-service for HR. Public Works, our permit management software right now will also be upgraded. There are some regulations required for permit management. George Knight has all the details on that he has spoken to me about. But we're not able to meet some of those right now. Some of those relate to how we communicate with someone about the process of their permit management and where that is. That also will be new capability.
Ms. Golding.
Thank you. So I don't know if this is a question for Bill or for Ashley, but $332,000 a year, and that's the fees, right? Every year that we're going to pay, and those are going to go up
Yes.
as the memo mentioned in years 2 and 3, and then 4 and 5, and then beyond.
Correct.
That's a significant amount of money on our budget. So I guess my question is, do we have a plan for how we're going to be able to cover that going forward? Does this implementation actually help us to be more efficient and save some money somewhere, or how are we going to be able to afford that?
Ashley Gossett, CFO. So yes, this agreement will require $332,000 in maintenance fees or subscription fees per year. But we're getting a credit of $155,000 in our current agreement. And then we're also getting another credit from Munis of $68,000. So the net impact to the budget this year will be $108,000. And part of that, and Bill can probably speak to some of the details, is we're transitioning to subscription-based models versus hosting it on our own servers and having to replace our hardware. And it's also helping to kind of realize some savings in staffing, as we don't require the same skill set to be a full-time employee. It is an increase in fees, but it is kind of providing us a lot of benefits in terms of kind of support in the IT department of having the backup in the cloud and the staffing. We're going to plan to include it into the budget into our leased properties fund, where we generate revenue from our tenants. So that's been what we've been using to pay for our maintenance and subscription fees. And in general, right now, we're paying about $850,000 entity-wide for maintenance and subscription fees. $150,000 goes to Microsoft licenses alone. So it seems like a large number, but it's kind of par for the course and what we were expecting to pay, if that helps.
Yes, thank
Mr. Horn?
The portion that, yeah, I mean, following up on the subscription fees and the portion here that talks about annual subscription fees will increase by 3% for years 2 and 3, 4% for years 4 and 5, and 5% any year after that, year 5. I'm assuming that our plan is to continue using this. I mean, is there an end to that? I mean, is this a standard that you can just automatically assume that we're going to need 5% more money down the road, 3-4% more money? I mean, they're built in, but it seems like that just doesn't, in my simple mind, make sense. Is that routine? Is that standard?
It is actually. There's for subscription-based software. This is a standard. Our Microsoft agreement has about the same increase every single year. There are other agreements that we have that have the escalator agreement in it every single year, and this is all for remote hosted software. If this was software we were going to host here, we would have an annual maintenance with that. This replaces the annual maintenance, and even with an arrangement where you have your software hosted here on your servers, the annual maintenance also has an escalator every single year. So this is pretty standard for all software agreements. I mean, I have seen this for years and years, and all the contracts that I've negotiated, it's not out of line from my perspective.
The $850,000 that was just referenced, annual subscription fees that we pay, are these services going to supplant any of those? I mean, is this covering something else that we're already paying for, and so we're going to lose? We're going to not pay some of that $850,000 because of the money that we're paying here, or is this a totally separate entity?
So this is it's actually a little bit of both. So it is very separate. There will be some new fees associated with this. I think Ashley mentioned the number, $105,000. So net, at the end of the day, this is going to increase that number $105,000. But it's also giving us a lot of value for that $105,000. Remote hosting of the AS400, the addition of enterprise asset management. Either one of those by themselves would almost be more than that a year. So this is a great value of doing it this way, of consolidating it like this. $150,000 of current Central Square money will go away, but then this will be added.
And I guess my last question, and you may not be able to prognosticate this, do you anticipate in the next few years, as computers, when we start looking towards these super computer chips and quantum chips and things that are coming down the pike, do you anticipate us possibly being able to get hold of something that we don't have to pay things like this? Will we be able to manage our own, or is that a possibility down the line? Or I mean, I'm wondering. I don't mind if it's what is appropriate to pay for, yes, but if we can also find a way to do it that costs the taxpayers less money, I'm all about that. As everybody on the dais is well aware, and hopefully everybody watching at home. I just wondering. That's kind of a maybe that's not a question for here. We'll chat offline about it.
Well, just a quick response. We already live in a hybrid world where we have some things in the cloud and some things here on premise. And it's really a function of when we look for a solution, do they even offer it to be loaded here locally? Most are not doing that anymore. They're only offering a remote hosted solution. And the reason of that is because of the recurring revenue that they get. So we could try to find something that we could house inside. There's staff costs associated with that. But again, most of these vendors are going to this model where they want to host it in the cloud, and we don't have a choice.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Sutton?
Exact same thing, Bill, on the 5% beyond year 5. I'm just curious. I mean, I wish I could get 5% price increases beyond a couple of years in my business. That would be awesome. So what is that based on? Like, and I don't know if this is a question for you or our friends at Central Square, but if you say it's somewhat industry standard, maybe you can answer it. Is it additional FTE costs, ongoing labor costs, and or hardware equipment of theirs, and just prognosticating that they need that 5% increase 10 years from now?
So I think it's based on all of those things that you just said. Every few years they have to replace the hardware. Hardware costs go up every few years. They're growing their business, which includes growing staff. So we pay incrementally that every single time that happens. So it's a combination of the hardware that they have to do, the upgrades that they're doing for us every single year, software modifications that we might ask for. All of that is included in that.
So that's some number that they're comfortable with, that they've come up with, that could include years with flat or decreases, but also could include years with 10 or 15% increases.
Could be.
Okay.
Mr. Wouters?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to ask, please forgive my background knowledge. Are these folks replacing existing partners or old partners, or are we bringing them on board as new partners?
They are existing partners.
Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Golding?
Just a quick revisit. So I know that the agreement term is 5 years, and so at the 5-year mark, then what, we go and have to do another agreement or what?
Renegotiate.
We renegotiate, okay. And then at that point, who knows what the fee increases are going to be, or what the fees will be, or the increases will be?
Well, we hope that obviously that will work out to our advantage, but that's what the negotiation process is all about.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from council? I nominate Councilman Horn to participate. Thank you, and thank you. You guys have done a really good job keeping us briefed on this issue, and it won't be as easily quantifiable as a service agreement, but the efficiencies that will hopefully come, especially from the asset management of, I mean, I can't imagine, because multiple departments touch many of our assets. So to have it be on someone's Outlook calendar or on someone's Excel sheet, I can't imagine, hopefully, the streamlining and the efficiencies that will come from this implementation. So thank you. I know this has been a labor of love for you to get to this point, so I appreciate it. Any other comments on item 1? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Councilmember Horn,
Yes.
Councilmember Jansen,
Yes.
Councilmember Sutton,
Yes.
Councilmember Wagner,
Yes.
Councilmember Wouters,
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman.
Yes, motion carries. Item 2.
I move we authorize the mayor and city manager to execute the solutions agreement with Central Square for ERP-related software and services.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Horn,
Yes.
Councilmember Jansen,
Yes.
Councilmember Sutton,
Yes.
Councilmember Wagner,
Yes.
Councilmember Wouters,
Yes.
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman.
Yes, motion carries. Item A. Oh, wait. I'm sorry, yes, Resolution A. Mr. City Attorney, you got this one? Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor. The Florida statutes authorize us to enter into a contract with a special magistrate who adjudicates our code enforcement matters for us. That is to ensure that there's a neutral third party with legal expertise handling cases that come before that where code enforcement issues citations. The city has used the law firm of Lewis, Longman, and Walker, PA, and currently the attorney Brenna Durden. Under our existing contract, it is open for 1-year renewals, and the term is about to, on the current 1-year renewal is about to expire. We've reached out to Ms. Durden to see if she would still be interested. She is. There would be no cost increase for this extension. So therefore, at this time, the city is satisfied with the services being provided. Both parties are amenable to continuing the contractual relationship under the current terms. So we're recommending that City Council approve this resolution, which would extend the term with our code enforcement magistrate for 1 more year.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Will you read the resolution by title, please?
A resolution of the City of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, extending the contract between the City of Jacksonville Beach and Lewis, Longman, and Walker, PA, for primary and alternate special magistrate services for code enforcement, providing for adoption of recitals, repeal of prior inconsistent resolutions and council decisions, severability, scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
And a motion?
I move we adopt resolution number 2190-2025, extending the contract between the City of Jacksonville Beach and Lewis, Longman, and Walker, PA, for primary and alternate special magistrate services for code enforcement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Jansen,
Yes.
Councilmember Sutton,
Yes.
Councilmember Wagner,
Yes.
Councilmember Wouters,
No.
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Councilmember Horn,
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman.
Yes, motion carries. And while we are on a legal topic, I'd like to congratulate and thank Mr. Miggett for completing his first year here at the City of Jacksonville Beach. Applause are appropriate. All right, our final item is going to be the second reading of our Land Development Code. Planning Department, do you have an update?
Thank you, Mayor Hoffman. Heather Ireland, Planning and Development Department. The document that you have in your packet, it will have some track changes in it based on just some further changes we've made. Most are additional definitions, some formatting and typo issues. We also cleaned up the language in the section about our Board of Adjustment and Planning Commission to make them consistent. So thank you to all of you who found things and shared them with us, because our eyes are certainly crossed after looking at this for 2 years. All 320 pages I think we're up to. So we're all here to answer questions, follow-up questions, or new questions that you may have thought of. If you don't mind, I'd like to just kind of say a few things regardless of how tonight's vote goes. I'm going to reintroduce myself real quick. Heather Ireland, 23-year resident of Jacksonville Beach, proud Seaside Play Garden, Seabreeze, Fletcher Middle and Fletcher High School, 1 more year to go, parent, go Senators. I want to thank you all for entrusting our team with this project. I know it's been a long time coming for us to get to this point. I want to thank the public for participating in the process, business owners, property owners, pretty much everyone you can think of came to the table and helped us do this, which we would not have been able to do on our own. Thank you to our partners at Kimley Horn for their professional expertise, their guidance, and to help us materialize some of the ideas that Christian and I brought to the table that seemed a little outside the box. They helped reel us in and make those ideas a reality instead of some of the ideas swirling around in our heads. The goal of this project has always been to put the city into a position to be better off in the future than when we started this project, and to meet the goals of the strategic plan, address concerns and desires of the community, residents, and businesses, to encourage the things the community wants to see and discourage the things that we don't want to see. And while we're never always done with this process, as you know, we'll be coming back to you in about a year from adoption to update you and possibly recommend some future changes. we know that what we've been able to accomplish over the last 2 years has been positive for everyone in the end. And I'm going to just share something with you guys real quick. I shared with Mayor Hoffman last week. I wasn't able to be here for the first March meeting due to the passing of my grandfather. He was really proud of all the work that we did here at the city. And the joke he would always say to me, no matter what we talked about regarding my work, say, "When are you going to be mayor?" And I would have to explain to him over and over again that that's not how it works. But he was also very proud that we had our first female mayor. No, thank you. I'll leave that to you. But I wanted to share that with you guys because he was always interested in politics and government and what we were doing. And he always had questions about what we were up to. So I wanted to share that with you guys. And again, please, we're here for questions. Technical stuff, I'm going to leave to the people who are a little smarter than me for that stuff. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Director Ireland. Madam Clerk, will you read the ordinance by title, please? Yeah, there will be time for questions once we get unless it was something about her grandfather or personal life.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear about your loss.
Okay, Madam Clerk, will you read the ordinance by title, please?
An ordinance of the City of Jacksonville Beach, Florida, repealing and replacing Chapter 34 Land Development Code of the city's Code of Ordinances in its entirety, providing for legislative findings, repeal of conflicting ordinances, severability, Scrivener's errors, codification, and an effective date.
This ordinance for the amendment of the Land Development Code is before this council for a public hearing and consideration on its second reading. Under the laws of the state of Florida, an ordinance which changes the actual list of permitted, conditional, or prohibited uses within a zoning category, or which otherwise changes the text of the Land Development Code, is a quasi-legislative proceeding. A quasi-legislative proceeding means that a governing body is acting in its rulemaking capacity. It is the duty of the council to arrive at sound decisions regarding the use of property within the city. This includes receiving citizen input regarding the proposed uses within a zoning category. The application has been reviewed by staff and the Planning Commission for consistency with other portions of the Land Development Code and the comprehensive plan. The council may hear from all interested parties in the legislative determination of an amendment to the text of the Land Development Code. The council's decision on a text amendment application is based on the criteria set forth in section 34-211 of the Land Development Code. Each member of the council has been provided a copy of the criteria. I will now open the public hearing on ordinance number 2025-8220. We have a couple of speaker cards. We will start with Terry DeLoach. Come on up. You know the drill. Name and address. Can't get this clock to work, so just envision 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mayor, City Council. First, let me just say you guys have done a great job. No question about it. Being part of the planning department for all those years, I got to see behind the scenes, and I know how much hard work Miss Ireland, Heather Ireland, the consultants, Kimley, is that right? Kimley Horn, and all the workshops and everything, and I know how much time you guys put into this. So I just want to say, first off, that's it. I want to also say I should probably not even get up because maybe this will just slip through without any changes to something that's dear to my heart, the digital signs. Maybe I shouldn't even say anything and it just go through and we can revisit that later with some more workshops about luminosity and things like that. That's my hope. But I do have to comment that digital signs don't contribute anything to our beautiful beach community. I have to also say that, in fact, many coastal communities don't even allow digital signs, including our neighbors. I also, we all want this beach, our beach, Jacksonville Beach, to be the best it can be. And so that's why I like to think that you will think long and hard about any of these decisions that are going to impact the quality of life here down the road. Not next year, not 5 years from now, but 10, 20 years from now. Hopefully I'll be around to see those decisions. And the last thing is we can keep accepting the kind of communities that develop with these kind of decisions, or we can make the community the way we want to make it. We can form it into what we want and get better and better. And so I'm a little concerned that if we go down this road, changing this, that it won't go back the other direction. It won't become stricter, most likely, until it gets out of hand, and then we will reel it back in. So let's not go that direction in the first place. And that's it. Thank you very much. I appreciate all your time and all your hard work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Deloach. Mike B. Give us your name and address, and you'll
Thank you,
have
everybody.
3 minutes-ish.
Yeah, Mike Boyles, 104 10th Avenue North. Thank you guys for everything you guys have done so far. I first would like to echo what the gentleman was just saying about making this city the city we want. That's what this code does. It allows us to do that. To start, I first would like to applaud Councilmember Routers for voting no on the Land Development Code at the last meeting and standing up for the citizens that have been expressing concern with some changes. I feel like we're in an epidemic of workshops. Where I go to these workshops, not enough time is given for everybody to speak. A lot of people get up and express concerns about things. I don't see things getting changed or updated, or very little. It seems like that's pretty concerning. I saw it with the stadium deal. Millionaires walked around and said, here's what we're doing with your money, take it or leave it. I see it when I go to Deegan's workshops. Here's what we're doing, and I don't see much changing. At the last workshop we held for this, there wasn't enough time for everybody to speak. There's a lot of concern out there that nobody heard because the time was cut off. Again, I heard a lot of concern about the LED lights and the flashing lights. I haven't heard one positive thing about that except for businesses, yet they remain in our code. Maybe I heard a lumens restrictions at the last meeting, but yippee, now we're going to live in a dimly lit Vegas strip rather than blinding lights. As Mayor Deegan just urged all of Duval County to go dark at night for bird migration patterns just last Thursday, Jack's Peach says, hold my beer. Let's blind and distract drivers and mess with birds trying to survive so we can sell tourists more junk with flashing lights. Just my opinion on those. 3 more quick examples: lot coverage, short-term rentals, and setbacks. It seems we're trying to cram as many tall structures as we can on smaller lots. This is great for short-term rentals and development investors, but it's awful for full-time residents that enjoy a neighborhood feel at Jack's Beach. Instead of allowing 3-story structures to be 5 feet apart on property line, how about we dive deeper into the details of the language and stop structure walls at the 10-foot we're already at, but allow a pad for a pool pump, or an example of something small that's not invasive up to the 5 feet. This is all full-time residents want: the ability to responsibly improve and beautify our properties without ruining our neighbors' quality of life. A blind 5-foot setback just means new construction is going to pile 5-foot, 30-foot walls piled on smaller and smaller lots right next to each other. That's all it's doing, is opening the door for that. Lot coverage. A slab of concrete is different than pavers with drainage channels in between each paver. It's different than synthetic turf with a full rubber backing that doesn't allow water to go through it. It's different than more expensive synthetic turf that's all meshed in the back and allows water to fully drain through it with proper granite underneath it and proper drainage channels. You may think I'm full of it. My education is mining and mineral engineering. I know how to pull stuff out of the ground. I know how to drain it properly. I know how to do it right. If you do that, if you set up a code that empowers people and trains people to do that responsibly, then full-time residents are going to be able to enhance their yards responsibly. Instead, we have extremely vague language that let our leaders, as it seems, spin to approve some things and spin to approve to deny others. I've seen it firsthand. Short-term rentals. Since 2015, I've watched one block come knock on my door any day. I'll walk you through this. From 1st Street North to 2nd Street North on 10th Avenue North. It went from 2015, it went from 4 short-term rentals and 15 either full-time leases or full-time residents to just 4 full-time residents and 16 short-term rentals. That's one block. I have 16 short-term rentals on my one block. It's absolutely ridiculous. Yes, the new LDC is close to being good, but it's far from approval. And to say it's a living and breathing document doesn't mean much at the moment, because it's been forever since this has been updated and it's taken us 2 years to get here. How many terrible ideas will get grandfathered in because we rush to approve this, leave these doors open without truly listening to citizens like myself and others who have been working hard to bring this to people's attention? Again, thank you for your time, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Boyles. Would anyone else like to speak in favor of or in opposition to the ordinance? Public hearing is closed. I'd like to ask for a motion, please.
I move we adopt ordinance number 2025-8220 on the second reading, repealing and replacing Chapter 34 of the Land Development Code of the City Code of Ordinances.
Second.
Before opening the floor for discussion or questions by the council, please be reminded that our decision will be based on the criteria set forth in the Land Development Code, staff's reports, the recommendations of the Planning Commission, and the public input at all hearings. We will now open the floor for discussion. Mr. Jansen.
I personally want to extend my extreme appreciation for Kimberly Horn's work that they did in the past 2 years, for Christian and Heather for the work that you and the commitment you put in for the benefit of the city. I know it's been a long time coming. 34 years is a long time to leave a land development code relatively untouched. There's been some Band-Aids, but nothing really significant. I know that that's, if we're looking for the utopia perfect document, we might be here for another 34 years. We don't want that. So I personally want to extend my gratitude for all the hard work that you guys have put into it. Thank you so kindly.
Thank you, Mr. Jansen. Mr. Wagner.
Okay, so I fully transitioned from my day job, so I won't be calling anyone else a doctor. So I apologize for that. I want to do something very similar and express my appreciation. The process, while never would it be perfect, while never would it please everybody. And as I said in a previous meeting, the fact that it doesn't please everybody means it's probably about as good as it's going to get. If half of us are happy and half of us aren't, that's a problem. If all of us want something different, we're probably getting a whole lot better. I know that the team has worked very, very hard, and I know it's tough to some days for the amount of effort that's put into it and the feedback you get. It's probably pretty rough some days, and so I just want you to know that how much I personally just really appreciate the getting up every day, bringing it to people, stepping in front of groups of folks, unfiltered feedback coming your way left and right, and really trying hard to understand what people are asking for and getting us at least part of the way, if not all the way there. So I do appreciate that. And I will share, and I've shared this in previous discussions, this will be a living, breathing document as long as at least I'm on the council, right? Because I will insist that we bring it up. I will insist that we continue to look at it. And I know that there are many others that are just as passionate and feel just as strongly about that component of it as I do. The fact that we didn't do it for 34 years with people that I have no idea who they are, I'm not going to sit here and be judged by the actions of others. What I can do is I can be judged by my actions, and I can say that I will champion us to continue to make this a better document for our community, just like many of our staff and the council also feels that way, I'm sure. So thank you again from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate it all.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner. Mr. Sutton.
Thank you, Mayor. Same thing. Appreciate Kimberly Horn and all the work you've done, and Heather, you and your team, and all the work that's been done. Having been on the Planning Commission for many, many years with Mr. Deloach, I can tell you that this LDC is dramatically improved from what we had to administer. That was sort of taped together and glued together over the years. And so long overdue. But it is a dramatic improvement. And to second what Mr. Wagner said, there are 3 people up here that are here for at least the next 2 years, and 4 people that are here for at least the next 4 years, Lord willing, on all of that. And I think everybody is committed to, have a revisit annually to see if we need to make any changes. So I appreciate all the hard work. I will say, just for myself, regarding the digital sign thing, I'm not in favor of any changing to that. I'm not hearing a big outcry from the business community of changing that to something different than what it is today. And I think that's one of those things. If we continue to hear that over the years, maybe we can have a revisit. But I think it's fine where it's at. Thank you,
Ms. Golding.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to echo what my colleagues have said. Thank you to Heather and to Christian in particular for your patience and all the time that you've spent with me over the last couple of months in the questions and the reviewing of this land development code, to Kimberly Horn for all that you guys put into this. But I also want to thank the community because the community, as Heather said, did come out and participate, and Kimberly Horn listened. And I do appreciate that. And Heather and Christian listened too. And I feel like there are solutions in here that are addressing concerns that the citizens had. And I'm hopeful that some of the things that are changed in here will be better for our community. I understand Mr. Boyle's concerns about the setbacks, and just wanted to ask you guys to please clarify, because I understand Mr. Wouters has similar concerns, but the 5-foot setbacks are only in certain zoning areas, correct? And could you explain, because I spent quite a bit of time with you on this, and I think you helped me to feel better about this, and Christian, I was the one who explained it, so please explain how the 5 feet, is
Hope I
going
can
to
do
work, and why the 5 feet was the change that is being recommended.
Hopefully I can clarify as well for them as I did for you. Okay, so the only place you're going to see a big change in setbacks are going to be in the RM1 and RM2 categories. Those are our multifamily, our densest categories. For the remainder of the single family, we didn't really mess with the setbacks, except we've offered some options for rear setback reduction for small additions and things like that. But those existing setbacks are what's moving forward. So if you're in RS2 right now, your side yard setbacks are minimum 15 feet. That's combined. Your smallest setback can be 5 feet. So literally right now, and arguably for 30 years, you could put 2 houses next to each other that were 10 feet apart. So this isn't anything new that we're proposing in that sense. In the multifamily categories, we have tried to address, I think, probably the biggest issue that we've heard, at least throughout the years, which has been multifamily and townhome parking. And based on the lot sizes that we have here, which again, were mostly platted in the 20s through the 40s, there is a trade-off, basically, between providing more parking, providing wider townhouses, providing more architectural interest, or providing bigger setbacks. Because we currently have 10-foot setbacks for our townhomes, and we get 15-foot wide townhomes, and we get a single-car driveway. And that's been an issue, particularly with the short-term vacation rentals. So we've tried to create a situation where for townhomes, you have a smaller setback, more parking. Multifamily, we're keeping larger setbacks because they have to provide parking, but they're communal parking, so they're going to be surface parking lots, things like that. And then the one change for single family that we made was in the RM2 category. We created the urban single family, which I wish I had that drawing that I did, but those sort of townhomes that everybody did like that were attached by the breezeways, those were basically on 30-foot wide lots. They had setbacks that were in the neighborhood of as low as 4, as big as 7.5. But we wanted to make sure that single family was as competitive or as attractive to developers. Because if you're required to do larger setbacks, larger yards, and you can get 2 units on what would otherwise be, 1 unit, there's an incentive to do more townhomes. There's an incentive to do more multifamily. This way, the urban single family will basically match in setbacks what townhomes can get, and it helps protect that neighborhood character that we've kind of talked about so much. We've coupled that with a bunch of new exemptions for existing single families so they can continue to renovate and exist and aren't necessarily under pressure to sell or tear down. But I think that's really the biggest impact is we're trying to provide parking where we need it, provide some competitive nature for single family in denser areas, and hopefully address some of the concerns that we've heard over the years.
Thank you, Christian. That it definitely helped me a lot when you went through all of that. So I do appreciate you going through it so that hopefully the community who's here and watching the video could better understand some of the reasoning behind it. And also just a quick follow-up too to Mr. Boyle's concerns about the vacation rentals. I am so sorry that you have to live with what you live with. And unfortunately, prior city councils didn't have the foresight that Neptune Beach and Atlantic Beach had to prohibit vacation rentals or to make vacation rentals in their communities be 60 days or 90 days. Jax Beach didn't do that, and the state preempted us, and we can't do anything about it. We have very little we can do. What we're doing is putting some additional guardrails in the code, this new land development code, but even that is limited because the state has totally preempted us. And the last thing I want is to hear that we have 16 vacation rentals in one block of a neighborhood, because that's not what we want for our neighborhoods, and that's what we heard when we had these workshops with Kimley Horn. So I think I hope that some of the things that we are changing in the land development code from that perspective with the vacation rentals will help to improve the situation there as best as we can until we can get the state to release the chokehold that they have on us that is keeping us from being able to do anything. So anyway, thank you very much. I do appreciate the work that everyone's done, and again, the community's participation, because that's so important to making sure that our codes support what we want for our community. Thank you.
I just want to add on that, Ms. Golding, that the prohibition on vacation rentals would have had to have been before 2011. So they weren't even really a big thing at that point, and certainly the council that was there at that time, which none of us were on, would never have imagined that they would become what they have become in our community. And then I also just want to address because it came up in both comments, the digital sign frequency, we are back to where it started. So there has been no change to the digital sign frequency. So just want to make sure we're all on the same page there. Are you finished with your comments? Thank you, Ms. Golding. Mr. Wouters.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor. Excuse me. David, as our city attorney, is this a legislative hearing?
This is legislative. This is not quasi-judicial.
Thank you, David, for that clarification again. There's so much to take in and process right now. Let me do my best. First of all, the affected area is over 40% of our population being RM1 and RM2, and it also extends to RS3 in certain uses, including townhomes for the side setbacks. So we're talking anywhere upwards of 50%. And in my view, making this favorable decision for side setbacks, allowing more townhouses to be crammed onto a piece of property where there used to be a single family home, only encourages more Airbnbs. I have many concerns about this LDC, but I'd like to speak on one that is correlated to the matter we're discussing now. That being the rear setbacks being moved from 30 feet to 20 feet in RM1, RM2, and RS3. As I understand the LDC is to implement the comp plan. And the comp plan clearly reads, future land use vision FLU1, the first sentence, ensure the character, density, intensity, and location of all land uses provides a system of sustainable smart growth and redevelopment that enhances the quality of life and safety for all residents of Jax Beach. The comp plan defines smart growth as, among other things, making the community more attractive. It also states that the development should fit the character of an existing neighborhood. Many find townhomes crammed right on top of each other unattractive. And I would just ask you to go by Gonzalez Park and judge for yourself. This change does not allowing this new side setback as well as the rear setback does not improve the quality of life for adjacent properties or the neighborhood. Current residents in affected areas, almost 50% of our population, have had the protection of 35 feet rear setbacks since they built or moved in. The new structures block out sunlight, ocean views, and sky. It diminishes the value of adjacent properties, and some would suggest this constitutes a wrongful taking when considering how your property drops in value. When taken in context of the diminished new side setbacks, this additional change exacerbates privacy, flooding, and a host of other issues. Therefore, I make a motion to amend Ordinance 2025-8280 in that the proposed new expansion of rear setbacks found in Article 6, Chapter 34, Section 613 RS3 as it pertains to single-family dwellings and townhomes, Section 614 RM1 as it pertains to multifamily dwellings, two-family dwellings, and townhouses, and Section 615 RM1 as it pertains to all uses, to strike the 20-foot rear setbacks and retain the 30-foot rear setback protections currently in place. In my view, these are much more consistent with the letter and spirit of the comp plan. Such changes could be done quickly, as I know a lot of folks would like to be done with this, and frankly, I would too, but I think we can do better. I think it's good, but I believe we can do better, and I ran on that promise, and that's why I'm sitting here today. Thank you.
There was a motion to amend. Is there a second? Seeing none, motion fails. Back to the original motion. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, I would like to echo the appreciation to our planning department staff and to Kimley Horn, to all of the citizens who are involved, for this council, for the 2 years of work on this. And I don't want to belabor the point, but I think we've really come a long way, and I think we've really gotten creative with some solutions towards all of our goals, including maintaining our neighborhood qualities. So I'm proud of this document. I hope everyone here is as well. And with that, Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Sutton,
Yes.
Councilmember Wagner,
Yes.
Councilmember Wouters,
No.
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Councilmember Horn,
Yes.
Councilmember Jansen,
Yes.
Mayor Hoffman.
Yes, motion carries. And before we move to adjourn, I would like to ask Director Ireland, although she had some sad news in her family recently, as you heard, she also had some very exciting news. And I'm going to ask her to share it because I don't want to mess it up.
Well, I did forget to wish my nephew Alan a happy 14th birthday. I promised him that I would do that. And if you've met him, you'll understand why he's so excited.
We will give him the gift of not singing happy
Yeah,
birthday
he asked
to
if we
him.
were going to sing. I said, absolutely not. That is your
You're
gift.
welcome, Alan.
So tomorrow, in fact, the announcement will come out that my dad, who worked for the Miami Dolphins for about 38 years, is going to be inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame, which means we're going on a road trip to Canton, Ohio, someplace I never thought I'd want to visit, but here we go.
And please tell us who he received the call from.
Dan Marino, of course. I can play you the voicemail later. I'll just get it from my mom's house. It's pretty
We'll
funny.
do that after the meeting.
Yeah.
Congratulations to your dad and to your family. That is really exciting news, especially to have this all come as we are crossing the goal line. Right? Right? All right. We are going to take, oh wait, we already took a vote. It's passed. Motion for adjournment.
Motion.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Happy St. Patrick's Day.